This is the only game I'll be playing for a very long time, and that's saying something. Because I love shooters, first person, third person, all of it. I've played everything from Medal of Honor to Call of Duty, from Battlefield to The Division. I've lived in this genre for years. Now, here's the truth. Just because I love these games doesn't mean I'm good at them. I'm not. I suck. I miss shots, I panic, I make bad decisions under pressure. And most shooters make that painfully clear. They punish you quietly, subtly, by reminding you that you're not the hero they designed the fantasy for. But Helldivers 2 did something different. Somehow, it made me feel okay at being terrible. Not powerful, not elite, just accepted.
No! Sweet liberty! No!
I started playing it when it was released on Xbox, and at first it was just another game in the rotation. Battlefield hype, Black Ops hype, the usual cycle. But slowly, without me even noticing, Helldivers 2 became the only thing I was loading up. Night after night, failure after failure, laughter after disaster.
Oh my god, no!
And one day, I caught myself asking a dangerous question. That question sent me down a deep research rabbit hole, and the deeper I went, the more something clicked. I didn't just understand Helldivers 2 anymore. I started to genuinely care about it. The design choices, the philosophy, even the story behind the game itself felt inspiring. This wasn't just a shooter. It was a game that knew exactly what it was, and wasn't afraid to be it. So, yes, this video is going to be long, and that's intentional, because length is love, and Helldivers 2 deserves it.
Helldiver KIA deploying replacement.
To understand why this game feels the way it does, we have to start with the story.
Prove to yourself that you have the strength and the courage to be free.
No, not the in-game propaganda, but the real one. The story of Helldivers 2 is the classic, quote-unquote, overnight success that actually took nearly 8 years of stubborn belief, painful mistakes, and sheer refusal to quit. After finishing the first Helldivers in 2015, Arrowhead Game Studios moved on to the sequel with what can only be described as naive optimism. Johan Pausted himself admitted they thought it would take about 3 years to make because they believed they already knew what the game was. That assumption turned out to be their first major mistake. They skipped traditional pre-production, no long prototyping phase, no extended planning. They went straight into full development. And what was supposed to be a 3-year project stretched into 7 years, 11 months, and 26 days, nearly 8 years. As the vision grew, the foundation couldn't keep up. Pausted later described it as trying to build a massive skyscraper on a foundation meant for a small bungalow. What began as a niche top-down shooter was transforming into a full-scale, third-person epic, and the code was straining under the weight of ambition. Then came the engine. Helldivers 2 was built on Autodesk Stingray, formerly Bit Squid. Midway through development in 2018, Autodesk discontinued it. Just like that. No updates, no supports, no future. Arrowhead had a choice. Throw away years of work and start again on a new engine, or keep going completely alone. They chose to keep going. From that point on, they were effectively developing on a ghost engine. The engineers had built by hand systems that modern engines give you for free. By launch, Helldivers 2 was running on technology only Arrowhead truly understood, a game powered by institutional memory and sheer will. Internally, there were moments where the game almost didn't survive. Early on, Helldivers 2 was designed for 5-player squads. On paper, it sounded great. In reality, it didn't work. One player always felt useless, like a fifth wheel waiting for something to do. Fixing that meant balancing the entire game mid-development and committing fully to 4-player squads, a massive and risky pivot. As the prototype improved, Sony doubled the budget. That support was a blessing, but it also changed everything. Expectations grew, pressure increased. The small, tight-knit studio culture collided with the realities of a major published title. There were long stretches of silence, uncertainty, and internal strain. Pausted later said it was grit and camaraderie, not money or technology, that kept the team together during those years. And then, when the game finally launched in February 2024, it almost collapsed under the weight of its own success. Arrowhead expected maybe 40 to 50,000 concurrent players. They built their systems to handle 250,000 just to be safe. Within days, Helldivers 2 had over 450,000 players on Steam alone. The servers melted. For the first few weeks, the most accurate description of the experience was the server at capacity screen. In a move almost unheard of in the industry, Johan Pausted told people publicly not to buy the game until the servers were fixed. He said, "If you have no money, get it later. I want to make a game you can actually play." That wasn't damage control. That was integrity. And just when things finally stabilized, the game faced its near-death experience. Sony announced a mandatory PSN account requirement for PC players. The backlash was immediate and brutal. In under 48 hours, the game was review bombed from overwhelmingly positive to mostly negative. It was delisted in over 170 countries. Everything Arrowhead had built was suddenly at risk. What happened next was rare. Players organized, reviews flooded in, the message was clear, and Sony backed down. Arrowhead stood with the community, even knowing it could strain their relationship with their publisher. The game survived because the people who made it and the people who played it refused to let it be compromised. And that entire story, every misstep, every struggle, every hard decision explains exactly why Helldivers 2 feels the way it does today. Because this is a game built by people who learned the hard way that comfort is cheap and meaning is earned. And that brings us to the game itself, and why friction is not a mistake in Helldivers 2. It's the soul of the experience. Modern video games are obsessed with comforts, smooth animations, instant reloads, forgiving mechanics, and the constant promise that you're powerful, important, and in control. The industry has spent years sanding down every sharp edge in the name of accessibility, and then Helldivers 2 shows up and says, "No, you are not special, you are not safe, and the game is not here to help you." Helldivers 2 is built on a radical idea. Friction is not a flaw, friction is the point. Arrowhead Game Studios didn't accidentally make a clunky game. They engineered resistance into every layer of the experience. Movements, aiming, reloading, communication, teamwork. Even the story of the game itself is designed to fight you back. And the result is something most modern games are afraid to be: uncomfortable, demanding, and unforgettable. At the heart of this philosophy is a belief Arrowhead repeats constantly: a game for everyone is a game for no one. Instead of chasing trends, monetization models, or mass appeal, the studio focused on fundamentals. What fantasy are we delivering? And who is this actually for? Their answer was simple and brutal. You are not a superhero. You are a disposable soldier thrown into a galactic meat grinder, and every mechanic exists to make you feel that weight. This is why Helldivers 2 feels heavy. Your character doesn't glide. Weapons don't snap instantly to targets. Turning with a massive machine gun feels like dragging steel through mud, because that's exactly what it would feel like. When you're fumbling a reload while a terminate swarm closes in, that panic is intentional. The clunkiness critics complain about is the fantasy working exactly as designed. That philosophy flows directly into the game's core mechanics, starting with aiming itself. Helldivers 2 doesn't let your gun magically follow your crosshair. Instead, you get two reticles. One that shows where you want to aim, and another that shows where the barrel actually is. Light weapons track quickly. Heavy weapons lag behind with real inertia. You don't just aim, you lead your own gun. Success comes from understanding weights, momentum, and timing, not twitch reflexes. Movement makes this even harsher. Fire while running and your accuracy collapses.
To the front.
Powerful support weapons kick like wild animals, unless you crouch or go prone. The MG206 heavy machine gun is devastating, but slow, unwieldy, and dangerous if you're surrounded. The game constantly forces you to choose mobility or lethality. There is no perfect answer. Then there is reloading, one of the most misunderstood systems in the game. Helldivers 2 uses magazine-based ammo, not a shared pool. Reload too early and you throw away live rounds forever. Reload too late and you die mid-animation. Reloading itself happens in physical stages. Drop the mag, insert a new one, rack the bolts. Get hit or dive mid-reload and the process pauses exactly where your hands were. Resume later and you pick up from that point. It's not input eating, it's simulation. The game remembers what your character physically did. There are tactical reloads when the round is still chambered, faster and cleaner. Full reloads when the mag is empty. These are slower and riskier, and every choice creates mental tension. Conserve ammo or prepare for the next fight. Skill in Helldivers 2 isn't just aim, it's restraints. Combat gets even more demanding once armor enters the equation. Enemies don't just have more health, they have armor tiers. Some enemies shrug off standard bullets completely. Others ricochet rounds or less hits with specific armor-penetrating weapons. Chargers, hulks, tanks, factory striders. These aren't DPS checks, they are loadout checks. Bring the wrong tools and you are mechanically incapable of winning. This forces squads to specialize, coordinate, and plan before missions even begin. Team-assistant reloads for weapons like the autocannon turn corporation into raw power, rewarding coordination over solo heroics.
Sending in an eagle!
And then there is the Stratagem system. The soul of Helldivers. Instead of a single button press, every orbital strike, supply drop, and reinforcement requires you to input a directional code. It's a cheat code system performed under live fire. In calm moments, it's easy. In chaos, your brain betrays you. Fingers slip, codes fail, people die. That stress is the design. Players have tried to bypass this friction on macros, stream decks, and key rebinding. Some succeed, others embrace the pain. Developers insist the manual input matters because stopping in to call in help makes you vulnerable. Even controller players invent claw grips just to survive. The fiction forces mastery, not convenience. As brutal as all this sounds, nothing defines Helldivers 2 more than friendly fire. It's always on, always lethal. One stray bullet, one misthrown grenade, one poorly placed airstrike, and your teammate is gone. This reinforces the game's satire perfectly. Super Earth doesn't care about you. You are replaceable. When you die, you don't respawn. A new Helldiver drops in with a different voice, a different personality, and the same expendable purpose. This creates constant tension. You can't spray into crowds. High-powered weapons like the Arc Thrower are balanced by the fact that they will absolutely murder your squad if you're careless. Automated sentries don't discriminate. Guard dogs don't check for allies. Even supply pods from orbit can crush you on landing. Chaos is guaranteed, and mistakes are inevitable. Yet, somehow, this doesn't create toxicity. It creates laughter, because everyone messes up. Everyone kills teammates by accident. Death is temporary, embarrassment is shared, and the reinforcement system keeps things moving. The community treats friendly fire as tragic comedy, not betrayal. That same philosophy extends into the larger narrative. Helldivers 2 isn't a static life service roadmap. The Galactic War is controlled by a real human game master known as Joel. He watches player behavior and adjusts the universe in response. Liberate planets too fast, and the enemy pushes back harder. Stall too long, and reinforcements arrive. Sometimes, nothing happens at all, and that silence becomes part of the story. Malevolon Creek is a perfect example. A dark jungle planet filled with automatons, brutal visibility, and constant death. Players became emotionally attached to the suffering. Some players ignored global objectives just to fight there, creating real social conflict in the community. When the planet fell, people mourned. Arrowhead turned that pain into canon with a Memorial Day and a commemorative cape, permanently enshrining player misery into the lore. Even monetization follows this strange philosophy. Mechanically, the game is punishing. Economically, it's generous. War bonds never expire. Super credits can be earned through normal play, caches, and war bond rewards. Players can grind enough premium currency to unlock new content without paying. Medals can't be bought at all. Progression always requires engagement with the game's friction. Time is respected, but effort is mandatory. Aesthetic choices follow the same rules. Arrowhead refuses immersion-breaking crossovers. Instead of dumping pop culture into the game, they offer inspired designs that fit the universe. Even when fans beg for iconic armor, the studio protects the tone. The satire stays intact. The world remains believable. Of course, not all friction is intentional. Some bugs exist. Animations break, reloads occasionally misbehave, terrain physics interrupts actions. The line between design and flaw isn't always clear. Arrowhead has stumbled, especially with balance changes that nerf fan-favorite weapons and spark backlash. But the studio listens. Developers now play on the hardest difficulties with random squads to feel the pain firsthand. Quality of life changes are coming, but only where friction becomes pointless instead of meaningful. Loadout presets are being discussed. Small improvements are made carefully. The goal isn't comfort, it's clarity. Even the community participates in shaping the friction. The anti-tank mine saga became a running joke where players deliberately failed objectives to avoid unlocking a weapon they didn't want. Players and developers now engage in a meta game of push and pull, shaping the future together. Progression remains long and demanding. Thousands of medals, hundreds of hours, sample recovery that can be lost instantly if someone dies. Mission timers that cap how much suffering you can endure at once. High-tier gear becomes a badge of honor, proof that someone survived the grind. And that's the real magic. In Helldivers 2, success feels earned. Every extraction feels like a miracle. Every victory is a story. Friction filters the player base, leaving behind people who value cooperation, patience, and resilience. Toxicity fades because everyone knows failure is inevitable.
Those buffs. Just make sure you take a few steps back.
As the war evolves and new factions threaten the galaxy, the challenge will be maintaining that tension without burning players out. But if Helldivers 2 has proven anything, it's that discomfort can be powerful. This game doesn't treat you like a customer to be pampered. It treats you like a soldier to be tested. And in doing so, it reminds us of something the industry has forgotten. Sometimes, the struggle is the fun. So, videos like this take a lot of time and effort to make. So if you know you liked what you watched, hitting that like button will be very much appreciated. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you will get an alert whenever a new video drops. See you next time.